My mother stood at my wedding reception microphone, tears streaming, announcing my sister was pregnant, stealing my moment. But what she didn't know? I'd been planning for this exact betrayal for 3 days, and I had proof on the screens behind her. And by the end of this night, my entire family would understand exactly what happens when you try to hijack someone's wedding. If you've ever had family members who treated your big moments like their personal stage, if you've watched someone you love turn your celebration into their drama, or if you've ever been the person who finally stopped letting toxic family walk all over you, you're going to want to hear this story, because I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just pressed play. My name is Claire. I'm 28, a pediatric nurse, and I'd been planning my wedding to my fiancé Marcus for 14 months. We'd saved $42,000 for this day, every penny of it ours. Marcus worked in software engineering. I worked double shifts at the hospital, and we'd sacrificed vacations, dinners out, everything to have one perfect day. This wasn't some lavish celebrity wedding. This was the result of two people who'd grown up with nothing, finally building something beautiful together. My family? That's where it gets complicated. My mother, Linda, had always treated family events like her personal performance opportunities. Every birthday, every holiday, every gathering, she found a way to make it about her. When my younger sister Emma graduated high school, Mom spent the entire party talking about how she'd sacrificed so much to raise us. When my brother got engaged, Mom cried through his proposal story about how romantic it was when Dad proposed to her. But this was my wedding. Surely just this once she could let it be about me and Marcus. I should have known better. 3 months before the wedding, I gave my mother one job. One. Mail the invitations. We'd addressed them, sealed them, even put stamps on. Just drop them at the post office. Simple, right? 2 weeks later, Marcus's aunt called. "Claire, honey, I'm so sorry I can't make it. I already have plans that weekend." My blood went cold. "What? Aunt Marie, the wedding's on June 15th. "I know, sweetie. The invitation said June 8th. I hung up and immediately called my mother. "Mom, Aunt Marie says her invitation has the wrong date." A pause. "Oh, well, maybe there was a typo." "On all the invitations?" "Mom, what date did you mail?" Another pause. Then cheerfully, "June 8th, honey. Your sister's baby shower is June 15th, and I already booked the venue. You can just move your wedding 1 week earlier. Same season, what's the difference?" I felt like I'd been punched. Emma's not even pregnant. She will be soon. She and Derek are trying, and I want to make sure she gets a nice shower. You know how important these milestones are. Marcus found me sitting on the floor of our apartment, surrounded by RSVPs, crying. "We have to reprint everything. The venue can't do June 8th. Someone else booked it. We have to contact every single person and explain my mother sabotaged our invitations." The reprinting cost us $1,100, money we didn't have. But I chalked it up to Mom being Mom, thoughtless, not malicious. I was wrong. 6 weeks before the wedding, I picked up my dress from Alterations. $2,000, custom fitted, perfect. I stored it at my parents' house because our apartment was tiny and I was paranoid about Marcus accidentally seeing it. 4 days later, I stopped by to check on it. The dress bag was open, and inside, there were new seams. The entire back had been re-altered, taken in by about 4 inches. Mom, what happened to my dress?" She came downstairs, casual as anything. "Oh, Emma tried it on. It was too big for her, so I called my seamstress friend to adjust it. Isn't that sweet? Now you can both wear it." "Both. Mom, this is my wedding dress, for my wedding in 4 weeks. Don't be selfish, Claire. Emma's going to need a nice dress when she gets married. This way, it's cost-effective." The dress no longer fit me. The seamstress had permanently altered it. The original shop said they could try to fix it, but it would take 3 weeks and cost another $1,500, with no guarantee it would look right. I had to buy a new dress off the rack. Simple, understated, nothing like what I'd dreamed of. $800 I didn't have, charged to a credit card. Marcus held me while I sobbed that night. Why does she keep doing this? I don't know, I whispered. But this is the last time. After the wedding, I'm done. Here's what you need to understand. By this point, my family had cost us $1,100 reprinting invitations, $1,500 trying to fix the dress that couldn't be fixed, $800 for new dress, total $3,400, nearly 8% of our entire wedding budget. But it wasn't about the money, it was about the message. Your day doesn't matter. Your feelings don't matter. We'll take what we want, and you'll just have to deal with it. And I was done dealing with it. The rehearsal dinner was 2 nights before the wedding. Just close family and the wedding party, 23 people total. Marcus and I paid for everything. The private room at the restaurant cost $1,200. Halfway through dinner, my mother stood up with a champagne glass. I just want to say how proud I am of Claire and Marcus. Marriage is such a blessing. Normal so far. Then. And speaking of blessings, I'm thrilled to announce that Emma and Derek are also engaged. They'll be getting married next spring. The table erupted in congratulations. Emma blushed and showed off a ring I'd never seen. Derek looked uncomfortable. I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, watching my rehearsal dinner, that I paid for, turn into my sister's engagement party. Marcus squeezed my hand under the table. Breathe. I excused myself to the bathroom and called Emma. Emma, what the hell? You got engaged and didn't tell me? Claire, I'm sorry, I didn't know Mom was going to. When did this even happen? A long pause. This afternoon. Like 3 hours ago. Mom insisted we do it before your wedding so we could announce it at dinner. My hands shook. She insisted. Emma, do you even want to marry Derek? I think so. Mom said it's time, and Derek's a good guy, and oh my God, she orchestrated your engagement to upstage my wedding. That's not... Claire, you're being paranoid. But I wasn't paranoid. I was finally seeing clearly. I didn't go back to the dinner. I went outside, sat in my car, and tried not to scream. That's when I heard them. My mother and my Aunt Carol, smoking by the side entrance. Well, that went perfectly, Mom said. Emma's announcement totally shifted the energy. Aunt Carol laughed. Linda, you're terrible. Poor Claire looked devastated. Oh, please. Claire's always been the dramatic one. Besides, Emma's my baby. She deserves her moment too. Emma's 25. Claire waited until she was 28. Saved up. Did everything right. Exactly. Claire doesn't need the attention. She's always been fine. Emma's more sensitive. She needs the family support. My aunt paused. You know people are going to talk about this. Let them talk. Claire will get over it. She always does. She's the responsible one. I sat in my car, hands gripping the steering wheel, and I finally understood. To my mother, I wasn't the daughter who deserved celebration. I was the daughter who didn't need it, the capable one, the one who'd be fine no matter what. Emma was the baby who needed coddling. I was the workhorse who could handle anything. And my mother had been treating me this way my entire life. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat in bed scrolling through old family photos on my phone, and every memory looked different now. The next morning, Wednesday, 2 days before my wedding, I called my grandmother. My dad's mother. She'd always been the truth teller in our family, the one person who said what everyone else was thinking. Grandma, can I ask you something? Be honest. Has Mom always been like this with me? A long, heavy pause. Then, "Oh, sweetheart, yes." My throat tightened. "Can you give me examples?" "When you were 8 and won the school science fair, she told everyone your teacher did most of the work. Said you couldn't have done it alone. When you graduated nursing school with honors, top 5% of your class, she spent your entire celebration dinner talking about Emma's boyfriend troubles. When you bought your first car with money you'd saved from working 2 jobs, she told the family you'd gotten lucky with a bonus." I felt tears burning behind my eyes. Why didn't anyone say anything? "Because you handled it, Claire. You were always so strong, so capable, so independent. We thought you didn't need defending. We thought you were fine." Her voice cracked. "We were wrong. And I'm sorry. I should have said something years ago. Grandma, I need to ask you something else. If I do something at my wedding to stop her from doing this again, will you support me?" "Honey, I'll be in the front row cheering." I wasn't overreacting. I was finally reacting, and I had 2 days to make sure my wedding stayed mine. I hung up with Grandma and looked at Marcus, who'd been listening to the whole conversation. "I'm done being the doormat," I said. "I'm done being the responsible one who has to sacrifice so the sensitive one gets everything." "What do you want to do?" I thought about it for exactly 3 minutes. Then I called my cousin Jason, who worked in AV and was running sound for our reception. "Jason, I need a favor, and I need you to keep it secret." "What kind of favor?" "I need you to edit a video. 5 minutes, maximum. Photos, text overlays, some audio. Can you do that?" "Claire, what's going on?" "I'm protecting my wedding, and I need your help." He agreed. Jason had watched my family walk all over me for years. He was ready to help. Here's what I did over the next 3 days. Not weeks, not months. 3 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And before you judge me, understand. I checked everything with my lawyer friend Sarah before I did it. Every single step was legal. I made sure of that. Day 1, Wednesday morning. I went to my parents' house while they were at work. I had a key. I'd lived there until I was 24, and they'd never asked for it back. This was my childhood home. I had legal right to be there. I photographed the altered wedding dress hanging in Emma's closet with the seamstress alteration tag still attached, showing the date my mother's laptop, which was sitting open and logged in on the kitchen table. I didn't hack anything. I didn't break any passwords. I just looked at what was already on screen. Emails to Emma with the subject line, "Your big announcement at Claire's dinner." Her iPad, also logged in, sitting on the counter. Text messages to Aunt Carol. "Make sure you act surprised when Emma announces. I need this to look natural." Sarah confirmed, "You had legal access to the house. The devices were unlocked and in plain view. You didn't break any computer fraud laws. You're fine." Day 2, Thursday. I contacted my wedding photographer and asked for copies of all email exchanges with my mother. Not just the ones I'd been copied on, all of them. Turns out, Mom had been trying to add Emma to our engagement photos as a surprise gift to you girls. I'd said no. Mom tried to book it anyway and was refused. The photographer had documentation of 6 separate attempts. Day 3, Friday morning, wedding day. I made one phone call to my mother's best friend, Rita. I told her I was feeling anxious about the wedding and wanted advice. She, unprompted, said, "Oh honey, don't worry. Your mom's been planning that special moment for Emma for weeks now. It'll be beautiful. Family is everything." I recorded that call. In our state, single-party consent recording is legal. I checked with Sarah. She confirmed it. "Rita, what special moment?" "Oh, I thought you knew. Your mom wants to announce Emma's pregnancy at your reception. It's supposed to be a surprise." "Emma's not pregnant." A confused pause. "She's not?" Linda said, "Oh, Claire, I think I said too much." Total time, 72 hours. Total evidence, 4 separate incidents, all documented through legal methods. Why this short timeline? 2 reasons. First, Jason needed time to compile everything into a 5-minute video. He couldn't do it in an hour. Second, I wasn't going to give my mother one more day to sabotage something else. Every day I waited was another opportunity for her to accidentally mess up the flowers, or the catering, or invite people we'd specifically excluded. This wasn't about building a perfect case. This was about gathering minimum viable proof before my wedding day and protecting that day from further damage. Sarah reviewed everything Friday morning, 3 hours before the ceremony. "Claire, every piece of evidence here was legally obtained. You had access rights to the house. The devices were unlocked. The recording is single-party consent. The photographer emails are your property. You're the client. If you want to use this, you're in the clear." Will people think I went too far? "Claire, your mother spent $3,000 of your money, destroyed your dress, and is planning to hijack your wedding reception. If anything, people will wonder why you waited this long." Did I feel guilty for gathering evidence? No. Did I feel sad? Absolutely. I was grieving the mother I wished I had. The mother who'd be excited for my wedding, who'd want it to be perfect for me, who'd protect my day instead of using it for her own purposes. But I wasn't going to feel guilty for protecting myself. Not anymore. The ceremony was beautiful. Marcus cried when I walked down the aisle. My mother sat in the front row, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief, playing the proud mother perfectly. I watched her during the ceremony and I felt nothing. No anger. No hurt. Just a calm, clear certainty about what was going to happen in a few hours. The reception started at 6 p.m. Dinner was perfect. The toasts were lovely. My maid of honor made everyone cry. Marcus's best man made everyone laugh. At 8:30, right on schedule, my mother stood up from her table. I watched her smooth her dress, check her makeup in her compact mirror, and walk toward the DJ booth. She was preparing for her performance. I nodded to Jason. He was ready. She took the microphone. "Can I have everyone's attention?" The room quieted. 200 people turned to face her. "I just want to say how incredibly proud I am of my daughter Claire and her wonderful husband Marcus. So far, exactly as I'd predicted. Marriage is such a blessing and family is everything, which is why I'm so thrilled to announce." I nodded to Jason again. The screens behind her, the ones we'd been using for our wedding slideshow, suddenly changed. On every screen in the room, a title card appeared. The real story of Claire's wedding. My mother froze mid-sentence, still holding the microphone. The video played, slide 1, split screen. Left side, photo of our original wedding invitations, clearly showing June 15th. Right side, the sabotaged invitations showing June 8th. Text overlay appeared. Linda changed our wedding date without permission, claimed Emma's hypothetical baby shower was more important. She'd already booked a venue for June 15th. Cost to reprint and notify 150 guests, $100. Slide 2. Before and after photos of my wedding dress. The before showed the beautiful custom gown. The after showed the butchered alterations. Text overlay. Linda had my $2,000 custom wedding dress permanently altered to fit Emma, without asking. Quote from Linda. "Now you can both wear it, don't be selfish. Cost to replace, $2,300. Slide 3. Screenshot of my mother's email to Emma, dated 4 days ago. Subject line, "Your big announcement at Claire's dinner." The visible text read, "Make sure Derek proposes by Tuesday. We need to announce it at her rehearsal dinner. Perfect timing." Text overlay. Linda orchestrated Emma's engagement specifically to upstage our rehearsal dinner, that we paid for. Cost, $200. Slide 4. Photo of Emma's engagement ring next to the receipt. My mother's credit card number, last 4 digits visible. Purchase date, 2 days before rehearsal dinner. Text overlay. Linda bought Emma's engagement ring and told Emma when to get engaged. Derek looked as confused as everyone else. Slide 5. The audio played. My mother's voice, crystal clear, from Wednesday night. Claire doesn't need the attention. She's always been fine. Emma's more sensitive. She needs the family support. Let them talk. Claire will get over it. She always does. She's the responsible one. Then Rita's voice from this morning. Your mom's been planning that special moment for Emma for weeks now. She wants to announce Emma's pregnancy at your reception. My own voice. Emma's not pregnant? Rita. She's not. Oh. Oh, Claire. I think I said too much. The video ended. The screens went black. The room was silent. You could have heard a pin drop. My mother's face had gone from confusion to horror to rage. Her hand shook, still holding the microphone. Claire, what is this? This is taken out of context. I walked up calmly, heels clicking on the floor, and took the microphone from her hand. This, I said, voice steady and clear, is what happens when you treat someone's wedding like your personal stage. I looked directly at her. You wanted attention, Mom? Here it is. I turned to my sister, who was crying at her table. Emma, I'm sorry you got caught in this, but you need to decide if you're actually ready to marry Derek, or if Mom's just writing your script too. Emma buried her face in her hands. Derek looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. I turned back to my mother. You're not welcome at the rest of this reception, and you're not welcome in my life until you can treat me like I matter. The microphone made a small feedback noise when I handed it back to the DJ. My mother tried to speak. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. Nothing came out. Marcus's father, a retired judge, stood up from his table. His voice carried across the entire room. Linda, I think you should leave. This is Claire and Marcus's day. You've done enough damage. External validation, from an authority figure, someone whose opinion carried weight in the room. My grandmother stood up next. Claire's right, Linda. You've been doing this to her for years, and someone should have stopped you a long time ago. That someone should have been me. But it ends tonight. One by one, people started standing. Not in support of my mother. In support of me. My mother looked around the room, at 200 people staring at her with expressions ranging from shock to disgust to outright anger. She grabbed her purse with shaking hands and walked toward the exit. My father hesitated, looked at me, looked at her, then followed her out. Emma and Derek stayed for maybe 10 more minutes. Emma came up to me, mascara running down her face. I didn't know, she whispered. I didn't know she'd been doing this your whole life. Claire, I'm so sorry. I know you didn't. But Em, you need to figure out what you want, not what Mom wants. She nodded and left with Derek. And then, the most amazing thing happened. The DJ started playing music again. People went back to dancing. Marcus pulled me onto the floor and we danced to our song like nothing had happened. Because nothing had happened. Not to our wedding, not to us. We'd protected our day. And it was perfect. The rest of my reception was perfect. Guests came up to me all night. Marcus's aunt told me she'd suspected something was off with my mother for years, but didn't feel like it was her place to say anything. My bridesmaids hugged me and said they were proud of me for standing up for myself. Complete strangers, Marcus's co-workers, distant relatives, told me I'd done the right thing. One of Marcus's colleagues, a woman in her 50s, grabbed my hand during the bouquet toss. I let my mother-in-law ruin my wedding 30 years ago. I never stood up to her. Good for you, sweetheart. Good for you. The DJ played our favorite songs. We cut the cake. We danced until midnight. And for the first time in months, I felt like I could actually breathe. My mother tried calling 17 times that night. I didn't answer. I'd said everything I needed to say. Emma texted me the next morning while Marcus and I were having breakfast at the hotel before our flight to our honeymoon. "I'm not mad at you. You were right. Derek and I are taking a break to figure out what we want, not what Mom wants. Thank you for showing me this wasn't normal. I love you." That text meant more to me than anything else. In the weeks and months after the wedding, here's exactly what happened. Week 1, my mother's church group, where she'd been president for 8 years and had built her entire social identity, held an emergency meeting. She was asked to step down. Apparently, several members had seen the video. It had been shared, though I hadn't posted it publicly, and felt she'd violated the group's values of integrity and family support. Week 3, my father sat her down and told her they were starting marriage counseling. He'd been in the wedding audience. He'd seen everything. And apparently, seeing that evidence, laid out so clearly, had opened his eyes to patterns he'd been ignoring or excusing for decades. He called me and said, "Claire, I'm sorry. I let her do this to you. I told myself it wasn't that bad, that you were strong enough to handle it. That was wrong. I'm working on being better." Month 2. My Aunt Carol called me and apologized for enabling Mom's behavior. "I should have said something years ago. I should have stood up for you. I'm sorry I didn't." Month 3. My mother sent me a letter, not a text, not an email, an actual handwritten letter 4 pages long. It said, in part, "I'm in therapy twice a week. I'm working on understanding why I did what I did. My therapist says I have patterns from my own childhood. My sister was the pretty one, and I was the capable one, and I've been repeating that dynamic with you and Emma without realizing it. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't know if I'd forgive me, but I want you to know I'm trying to change. I love you. I'm sorry I didn't show it the right way." I didn't respond immediately. I wasn't ready. But I kept the letter. It's been 6 months since my wedding. Here's where I am now. Dimension 1. Boundaries. I have crystal clear boundaries with my family. I see my dad for coffee once a month. He respects my space and never pushes me to reconcile with Mom faster than I'm ready. Mom is invited to family events if she respects my terms. No advice unless I explicitly ask for it. No comments about my life choices. No comparing me to Emma. No using me to make Emma look better or vice versa. She's managed to follow these rules at exactly 2 events so far. It's progress. Dimension 2. Relationships. Emma and I are closer than we've ever been. She dumped Derek 3 weeks after my wedding, enrolled in grad school for education, and started her own therapy. We have dinner every Tuesday. She told me last month, "You showed me what it looks like to stand up for yourself. I never knew I was allowed to do that." Watching her find her own voice has been incredible. Dimension 3. Self-worth. I'm in therapy too, working through decades of being the responsible one who wasn't allowed to have needs or take up space. I'm learning that being capable doesn't mean I have to handle everything alone. I'm learning that I deserve celebration, not just because I'm strong enough to survive without it, but because I'm a human being who matters. Marcus and I are stronger than ever. He's been my rock through all of this. Dimension 4. Empowerment. I started a blog called Your Day, Your Terms for people dealing with toxic family dynamics around weddings and major life events. It has 43,000 followers now. I get messages every day from people who thought they were alone, who thought they were being dramatic, who needed permission to protect their own joy. I've created a community of people who support each other in setting boundaries. That's meant more to me than I can express. Do I regret exposing my mother publicly? No. She'd been sabotaging my wedding publicly, changing invitations, destroying my dress, hijacking my rehearsal dinner. A public problem deserved a public solution. Would I do anything differently? Maybe I'd have told Emma first, privately, to prepare her. That's the one thing I'd change. But the core action? No regrets. Because here's what I learned. You can love someone and still protect yourself from them. You can grieve the parent you wished you had while refusing to be harmed by the parent you actually have. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for everyone involved, including yourself, is to stop enabling toxic behavior. If you're in a situation where family is treating your big moments like their personal stage, here's my advice. Document everything. Set boundaries early. Don't wait until your wedding day to stand up for yourself. But if that's when you find the courage, take it. You deserve to be celebrated. You deserve to have one day that's about you. My mother and I talk now. Not often, not deeply, but we talk. She's working on herself. I'm working on myself. Maybe someday we'll have a real relationship. But even if we don't, I have Marcus. I have Emma. I have my grandmother. I have boundaries. I have self-respect. I have a community of people who've learned to protect their joy. And I have a wedding video that reminds me I stood up for myself when it mattered most. That's enough.